So good evening all. Can you all hear me? Hello?
Good evening, sir.
Yes, very good evening. So we'll start. I request every other students who are present in the class to enable your videos so that the interaction can be lively. Thank you. Fine. So let's try to understand today very first something about the life process. See, last class I had discussed about only the introduction about all the chapters what you have in biology. So today we'll go ahead to understand about what exactly we mean by life process. What are all the concepts we are going to learn under life process we'll try to understand. So as you all know, the nature is going to be made up of something called living organisms as well as non-living organisms, means non-living substances as such. So when you take a living organism as well as a non-living organism, basically chemically they are all made up of almost the same components. There is no much difference with it. If you take example of human being as well as something like a plastic substance, so both these components are going to be made up of basically carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, these components. So based on the chemical component of the organism or living substance or a non-living substance, you can't differentiate what exactly is living and non-living. So any living substance will be made up of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen. Non-living substance will also be made up of, means basically non-living substance which are organic in nature. They are also made up of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen. But how do we say that the substance is considered to be as living and how the substance is considered to be as non-living? So any living organism as such you take, they're all made up of most important thing which is called as a cell. And the cell will be having presence of protoplasm. Along with this, it is also having cell organelle. So these are the components which are going to be present in it. So when you take a living organism, basically any living organism for that matter you take, they are all made up of cell. And that cell will be having presence of protoplasm in it. And the protoplasm will be having even cell organelles which are functional in it. So you know about cell organelles which you people have been studying from class 6 or 7. So where you'll be knowing about mitochondria, nucleus, endoplasmic reticulum, lysosomes, all the Golgi apparatus, all the cell organelles. So the cell organelles, protoplasm, cells, everything make up a living organism. And any living organism for that matter, you take, all the living organisms will be showing an activity which is called as life processes. Means continuously it will be involved in some activity of processes. What exactly we mean by this? Means living organism, whether it is going to perform any activity or not, or whether it is going to sleep, no physical activity, but yet some activities internally, anatomically, the organism is going to perform. So what is that activity? So there is various types of activities which are going to be performed by it. So like that, very first, it is in requirement of nutrition. So every living organism will be in requirement of nutrition, yes or no? Can I get some response, yes or no, please?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I request everyone to kindly enable your videos, because as a teacher, when I'm teaching you guys, I should be in a position to see you. If you don't enable your video, I feel that I'm just teaching to someone who is unknown to me, or a blackboard or something like that. So the class should be always interactive. So I should be seeing you, you should be seeing me. That's the reason why I have logged in 2 devices, one for exclusively teaching, one to monitor you what you people are doing. Because when I see you guys only, I will be in a position to understand whether you people have understood this concept or not. So it's my request, kindly everyone enable your videos. Beyond that, I cannot tell anything. Okay, so if you enable your video, the classes can become interactive, sessions can go smoothly, and at the same time, we can have lots of doubts, whatever you people have, which can be clarified easily. Okay, fine. So if you keep on switching off your video, what will happen is you will not be interested. You will never know what is going on in the class. And we as a teacher will never know what you people are doing at home. So let's utilize this situation in a right way so that your examination preparation can go in a right pathway. Please remember that. Okay, fine. So now I was telling you that organisms are going to show certain important processes. What is that? It is in requirement of something called as nutrition. So what is this nutrition? Nutrition is basically obtaining that component. Means organisms have to go in search of nutrition. So it has to obtain that. And at the same time, it is going to be utilizing the same for its activities. So there are certain organisms. Just you ask me a question that, sir, is it that all organisms are going to go in search of food? No, not necessarily. When you take example of plants, plants have the capacity of using their own food. So that's why nutrition is one aspect of it. So it is basically procuring. Okay. Procuring and utilizing. So what is this procuring and utilizing? So we have, means the organisms will go in search of food. They will take that food and they are going to utilize this food mainly to undergo various metabolic activities in the body. So you all know that any organism in this nature, it has to survive. One of the important activity an organism has to show is metabolism. What is metabolism? Metabolism is that substance, that chemical process where it is going to be classified into 2 parts. One is considered to be as anabolism, another is catabolism. So whenever I say as catabolism, anabolism, both put together, it is considered to be as metabolism. So this is the meaning of the utilizing. So procuring as well as utilizing. First and the foremost thing, every organism in this nature requires nutrition. That is one of the part of the activity of life process. So after this, what is going to happen? Respiration. The organism has to show the activity of respiration. Yes or no? So can you survive without respiring for 10 to 15 minutes? It is impossible. Okay, so respiration is very important. What is respiration? Whatever the food, means the nutrition the organism is going to take in. So that food has to be broken down to energy. So let's take a very simple example. So the simplest food molecule, what we are able to see in the human body is considered to be as glucose. Glucose is C6H12O6. Now, we always tell that glucose molecules are considered to be as energy packets to the human body. So what is it going to do? These glucose molecules are going to combine with oxygen. Means there is a reaction which is taking place between oxygen as well as the glucose molecule in every cell, okay, of a human body. So when this is going to happen, it results in formation of carbon dioxide as well as there is formation of water molecule with energy. The energy, whatever you are going to get, will be in the form of heat energy. So this heat energy will be utilized by the body to perform various types of activities. So that is the meaning of respiration. So this is a process which is happening in your body every day. Now assume you people are not doing any physical activity. You're just sitting at one place watching a TV. So does it mean that you are not doing an activity of respiration? Yes or no?
No, sir.
So you will be doing respiration, right? You will be showing the activity of breathing. Breathing is a part of your respiration activity. So as I'm watching the TV, there is no need of breathing. I'll just sit and watch the TV and so breathing and respiration is a part which is happening every second in your body. So nutrition, respiration. So even respiration takes place when you're doing the activity of sleeping also. When you sleep also, your body is respiring. Agree with this? Yes. So that's why it is considered to be as a life process. So your body has to show this life process. Then respiration. After this respiration, we are able to see something called as transportation. That is, the food molecules, whatever you are going to consume, the body, once you consume that food molecules, it is going to be digested into simpler food molecules. So the simpler food molecules has to be transported to every cell in the human body. So, or you take example of any animal body, there also there is transportation important. So blood, you all know that human body, see every time when I'm referring here, mainly I'm taking into consideration of human body because it is easy for us to understand. So don't feel that life process happens only in human being. No, every living organism shows this activity of life process. But I am taking example of human body because it will be much easier for you guys to understand about that. Okay. So now transportation. What do you mean by the transportation? So food molecules are broken down into glucose, right? So glucose has to reach your cells. Every cell, your digestive system, the digestion happens in the stomach, small intestine, large intestine, all these things. So then from there, it has to be transported to all the other cells of the human body. So your muscle cells requires glucose molecule, your brain cells require glucose molecules, your liver cells requires glucose molecule. So how will this be transported? So that's why we require transportation system. So the transportation system is nothing but your heart. Heart is going to pump the blood. So your transportation system consists of pumping organ, which is heart, and it is going to pump the blood, which is called as a fluid. So that fluid is going to be pumped to all parts of your body, and that's how transportation activity takes place. So your blood transports oxygen, your blood transports nutrients, your blood transports hormones, your blood carries carbon dioxide from the cells, brings it to lungs for the activity of exchange of gases. So that is transportation. So transportation is a type of life process. So can you imagine a human being not showing transportation or what is called a circulation activity for few minutes of time? So if circulation stops, means it is considered to be as death. How the Ilwan? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Transportation is another important aspect of your life process. Then along with this, there is also something called as the excretion. Now, coming to this transportation. Transportation will never be stopped at any point of time. Now, you people consume food at regular intervals of time. How the hell? Morning, you'll have your breakfast. Afternoon, you'll have your lunch. Again, evening time, you'll have some snack. Night, you will have your dinner. So all these things are taking place. So every moment, there is energy required by every cell. So energy is required by every cell means it has to undergo respiration. So if it has to undergo respiration, it requires glucose molecules. So transportation is happening. So all the three are interrelated to each other. Can I tell it like that? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Then once all this activity takes place, there is also called as excretion activity which takes place. So human body shows excretion also. What is excretion? It is nothing but removal of toxic chemicals. Removal of toxic chemicals. So these toxic chemicals are considered as nitrogenous waste molecules. And even I will say carbon dioxide is also a toxic chemical. So this is a gas which is being produced as a result of respiration activity which takes place in your body. So that carbon dioxide is going to be passed on from the blood to the lungs. From lungs, what will happen is we breathe out carbon dioxide. So breathing out carbon dioxide is also considered to be as excretion. So we say lungs is considered to be as accessory excretory organ. Accessory, not the main excretory organ, it is the accessory excretory organ of the human body. Then we also have urine which is going to be formed in the human body. So what is urine? Urine is basically removal of toxic chemicals in the form of ammonia, ammonium salts, urea, uric acid. So all these components are going to be eliminated out. So elimination or removal of toxic chemical is considered to be as excretion. So whether you people do any physical activity or not, at regular intervals of time, your body is going to show the urge for urination. Means excretion is happening. It's a part of your life process then. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
So,
yes.
and then next is the body shows something called as movement and locomotion. So every now and then our body is going to show this activity of movements and locomotion. We turn our head, we bend our body, we keep walking. So all this are locomotion, right? So movements and locomotion. That is also a part of what you call it as your life process. We can't be sitting at one particular place idly for all the 24 hours period of time. We can't be sitting like one idle. So we'll show some movement of our body. We'll bend our body. We'll move our hand, or we'll start walking somewhere. That's a part of your locomotion life process, movement and locomotion. Now, along with this, your body also has something called as control and coordination. So your body shows control coordination means your body is made up of some important system which is called as a nervous system. So nervous system is very important for functioning of all the other organs and organ systems. So your brain is always doing some activity of thinking, and it is controlling so various parts of our body. So that's why we call this as master system of our body. So like how in computers will be having motherboard. If the motherboard is not functioning, the computer is a dummy model. Agree, everybody?
Yes,
yes or no? Same way, if your brain stops functioning in your body becomes a dummy model. So like that, our body requires a control and coordination. What is this coordination? Coordination is nothing but basically various hormones will be secreted from the body. So those hormones perform variety of functions. So that is coordination. So control and coordination is also a part of your life process. Then lastly, another important aspect of life process is reproduction. So every organism in this nature, be it a sexually reproducing or sexually reproducing organism, it will show the activity of reproduction. So what is means life? Life is nothing but organisms which undergoes nutrition, respiration, transportation, excretion, movement, locomotion, control, coordination, reproduction, collectively forms as life process of an organism. Is that clear? Is that clear to everybody?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So now in this particular part of life process, very first we are going to understand about this nutrition. What exactly is nutrition? We'll try to understand. How many types of nutrition we have, we'll try to understand. And how organisms are going to be utilizing this nutrition for various activities, we'll try to understand. Okay, is that clear to everybody? So is this part clear to everyone? Anybody has any doubt in this part till now? Whatever we have discussed?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, fine. So now, next thing we'll try to understand is how exactly nutrition takes place in a human body. So basically, this chapter, life process chapter, deals with these three things: nutrition, respiration, transportation, excretion. We are not going to study anything about this movement, locomotion in this chapter. Control coordination is a separate chapter for you, and also reproduction is a separate chapter for you. Okay, is that part clear? So we'll go ahead and understand about nutrition. Should I have this part? Whatever I have done.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine.
Yes, sir.
So let's try to understand the meaning of nutrition. So what is this nutrition? Nutrition is basically the process where organisms procure food or synthesize food. So either it is going to procure the food or either it is going to synthesize the food on its own. So for what purpose they are going to do this? So that is mainly they are going to synthesize the food or procure the food in order to break them into smaller substances and utilize for that into various biochemical process is what we call it as nutrition. So nutrition is basically procurement of food, or it can be called as thus preparation or synthesizing its own food. For what purpose? For the activity of various biochemical process. And when the biochemical process has to take place, the food which is going to be synthesized or procured will be in a complex form. So the complex form of food is going to be broken down into simpler utilizable form so that the biochemical activity can take place. So that is what we call it as nutrition. Hope this is clear to everybody. Should I repeat this?
No, sir.
Okay, please make a note of this one. Nutrition. Kindly make a note of this one. Nutrition. Nutrition is defined as process by which living organisms procure nutrients or synthesize them into simple absorbable form by a series of biochemical process.
Sir, can you repeat it again?
Where are you stuck up? From
Sir,
the beginning, should I repeat?
nutrition or synthesize food.
Okay, synthesize the food and change them into and change them into simple absorbable form. By series of biochemical process. Okay. Is that clear to everybody?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now we will try to understand about the modes of mutation. So usually in this nature, we can see the modes of nutrition classified into two types. First one is called as autotrophic. Okay, it's called as autotrophic, and the second is considered to be as heterotrophic. Okay, autotrophic nutrition as well as heterotrophic nutrition. So what is this autotrophic nutrition and heterotrophic nutrition? So basically, autotrophic nutrition is nothing but the nutrition where the organisms are going to synthesize food on their own. So here I go with this autotrophic nutrition. Organisms which synthesize food on its own is what I call it as autotrophic nutrition. So in this autotrophic nutrition, basically organisms which are going to show autotrophic nutrition, they're all considered to be as autotrophs. So autotrophic nutrition, organisms are considered to be as autotrophs. Is that fine with everybody?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so they're all considered to be as autotrophs. Let us now try to understand how autotrophs are able to produce their own food. See, any autotrophic organism, for that matter, you take, they are going to utilize inorganic substances from the nature and convert that inorganic substances into organic food molecule with the help of various components like light, that is basically sunlight, or it can be some pigments. So all these things comes into picture here, which ultimately forms a nutrient. The nutrient is considered to be as basically glucose molecules are going to be formed. So that is what we call it as autotrophs or autotrophism. Organisms which show autotrophic mode of nutrition is considered to be as autotrophs. Now, these autotrophs are further classified into two types. So autotrophic nutrition can be classified into, first one, we have something called as photosynthetic. Okay, we have something called as photosynthetic nutrition. So first is considered as photosynthetic nutrition. Then second we have under autotrophic nutrition, some second one called as chemosynthetic nutrition. So these are the two types of nutrition what we have in this nature with respect to autotrophic. So one is photosynthetic nutrition, second is chemosynthetic nutrition. Is that clear to everybody? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So kindly make a note of this one. What is the meaning of autotrophic nutrition? Right, note down. Autotrophic nutrition are the organisms which manufacture their own food, from simple inorganic materials, present in the surrounding. Okay, clear?
Sir, repeat again, sir.
Okay,
From-
should I repeat the full sentence?
No, sir, from manufacture their own food after that.
Manufacturing their own food from simple inorganic raw materials.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
sir, I want from starting, sir.
What, Shashank?
Sir, from starting, sir.
From the starting you want? Okay, fine. Take down. Organisms manufacture their own food. From simple inorganic raw materials. Present in the surroundings. Okay. Next point.
Thank you, sir.
Next point, right now. Organisms which show autotrophic nutrition. Are called autotrophs. Okay. Next point right on us. Autotrophic organisms can be classified into two types. First one, photosynthetic nutrition. Second, chemosynthetic nutrition.
Sir, which are the types, sir?
There are two types of autotrophic nutrition. First is photosynthetic nutrition. Second is chemosynthetic nutrition. It's there on the board. You can copy it from the board itself.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Done. Shall we proceed ahead?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So now let us now try to understand the meaning of photosynthetic nutrition. I will be rubbing this part. So now we have photosynthetic nutrition. So what is this photosynthetic nutrition? Photosynthetic nutrition is nothing but usually green plants. Okay, green plants are the ones which are going to show this activity of photosynthetic nutrition. So they are going to utilize inorganic substances, carbon dioxide as well as water And this utilization of inorganic substances like water as well as carbon dioxide will take place in presence of sunlight, as well as there is requirement of a pigment in the plant body which is called as chlorophyll, which leads to ultimately formation of a simple organic compound with a C6H12O6. With this, there is formation of water molecule again and also oxygen molecule. So this is what I call it as the photosynthetic nutrition. So there are involvement of two inorganic substances. Yavadu inorganic substance andre? One is carbon dioxide as well as water. Okay. So then those two compounds are going to react in presence of sunlight. So they are going to react in presence of sunlight. Along with that, it requires chlorophyll. So chlorophyll is a pigmentation which ultimately gives you glucose, water as well as oxygen molecule. So this is photosynthetic nutrition. Is that clear to everybody?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
Sir.
Can you please make a note of this one? Photosynthetic nutrition, you can take down that particular reaction. Aita? Is this done?
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
It's done.
Now, we will go with the next thing which is considered to be as chemosynthetic nutrition. So what is this chemosynthetic nutrition? So chemosynthetic nutrition is basically nothing but the activity of synthesizing food by chemical energy released when oxidation of simple organic compounds are taking place. Andre yado ಒಂದು organic compound oxidation ಆಗ್ತಿರ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಆ oxidation ಇಂದ ಒಂದು chemical energy release ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಆ chemical energy ನ utilize ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು food ನ produce ಮಾಡೋದನ್ನ chemosynthetic nutrition ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆಯಾ? Anybody who didn't understand, should I repeat this? Hello.
Sir, can you repeat it once?
Yes. See, there are certain organisms, what they're going to do is, their body will be undergoing various chemical reactions. Our chemical reactions ಆಗ್ತಿರ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ oxidation of some organic compounds takes place. Oxidation of organic compounds ಆಗ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು chemical energy release ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಆ chemical energy ಏನು release ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, that energy will be utilized for the preparation of the food. So such type of nutrition we call it as chemosynthetic nutrition. Artha aita Madhuri?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So ega there are various examples I can give for this chemosynthetic nutrition. So first and the foremost thing, we have something called as sulfur bacteria is an example for chemosynthetic nutrition. Then we have second one which is considered to be as iron bacteria. So this is also going to show an activity of chemosynthetic nutrition. Along with that, we have something called as a bacteria by name Nitrosomonas. Nitrosomonas bacteria. So all these type of bacteria, whatever we are able to see in this nature, what they are going to do is, in their body, there is some chemical reactions taking place, oxidation of organic compounds. When those organic compounds are undergoing oxidation, it releases chemical energy. So that chemical energy it is going to utilize and procures, or it is going to synthesize its own food. So adana chemosynthetic nutrition. So all these three are examples for chemosynthetic nutrition. Sulfur bacteria shows chemosynthetic nutrition. Iron bacteria shows chemosynthetic nutrition. Nitrosomonas bacteria shows chemosynthetic nutrition. All these three are examples. Two things we need to understand. Any organism which shows photosynthetic nutrition, we call them as autotropes. So organisms which undergo photosynthetic nutrition are always called as photoautotropes, whereas the organisms which undergo chemosynthetic nutrition, we always call them as chemoautotropes. Okay, now is that fine?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Make a note of this one. Chemosynthetic nutrition. It's a mode of nutrition in which organisms utilize chemical energy. Organisms utilize chemical energy obtained from oxidation of simple organic substances. Oxidation of simple organic substances. Example. Okay. Example. Sulfur bacteria. Iron bacteria. Nitrosomonas bacteria.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'm just going to rub this thing. So what we understood now is, we understood what's the meaning of autotrophic nutrition. So under that, we understood two types. One is considered to be as photosynthetic. Second is considered to be as chemosynthetic. We understood the meaning of these two under autotrophic nutrition. Now, the second type of nutrition what we have is considered to be as heterotrophic nutrition. So we have to understand what is the meaning of heterotrophic nutrition. So heterotrophic nutrition is basically organisms are unable to prepare or synthesize their own food. So in such a case, organisms are going to be dependent on some other organisms. Means basically they're going to be dependent on other organisms, and they're going to be dependent on plants directly or indirectly for their nutrition. That is what is called as heterotrophic nutrition. So organisms which cannot prepare their own food, and they are directly or indirectly dependent on plants for procuring their nutrition, is called heterotrophic nutrition. Is that clear? Arthaita?
Yes, sir.
Everybody?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Please make a note of this one. Organisms which cannot prepare their food, organisms which cannot prepare their food by themselves, which cannot prepare their food by themselves, and are directly or indirectly, dependent on, directly or indirectly, dependent on autotrophs. Directly or indirectly dependent on autotrophs. Okay. Fine. So under this heterotrophic nutrition, we are able to see three types of nutrition. First is considered to be as saprophytic nutrition. So we have first one which is called as saprophytic nutrition. Second, we have parasitic nutrition. Then third one is considered as holozoic nutrition. So three types of nutrition we are able to see under heterotrophic nutrition. So one is saprophytic, second is parasitic, third is holozoic. Please make a note of this one. I made a mistake here. Okay. So please make a note of this one. Heterotrophic nutrition are going to be classified as saprophytic, parasitic, holozoic. Okay. Clear with this, everybody?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now let's try to understand the meaning of saprophytic nutrition. Saprophytic nutrition. This is nothing but a type of nutrition in which the organism is going to be dependent on dead and decaying organisms for their food. So it is going to be dependent on dead and decaying organisms for their food, is what I call it as saprophytic nutrition. Okay, now? Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So they are going to be dependent on dead and decaying substance. So dead and decaying substances is the source for their nourishment or nutrition. So that is what I call it as saprophytic mode of nutrition. So in the saprophytic mode of nutrition, what and all can we give as an example? Bacteria, yeast, fungus, mushrooms, all this can be given as an example for Saprophytic nutrition. Is that clear? Hello?
Yes,
Is
sir.
that clear? Okay.
Yes,
Please
sir.
make it up as well. Organisms which are dependent on dead and decaying substances for their food. Example, yeast, bacteria, mushrooms. Yeast, bacteria, mushrooms. Okay. Is that fine with everybody?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we have to understand parasitic nutrition, holozoic nutrition. So both this parasitic, holozoic nutrition, we'll continue it in the next class. Okay. So we'll meet in the next class. Until then, request everyone to ensure that whatever is being discussed in the class today, to go through your books and come to the next class, so that it will be much easier for you guys to go with the flow. ನೀವು ಓದಿಲ್ಲ ಹಂಗೆ ಬರ್ತೀರಾ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ಗೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಹಿಂದಿನ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ, ಆ ಕನೆಕ್ಟಿವಿಟೀಸ್ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಅವಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಫೀಲ್ ದಟ್ ಎವ್ರಿಥಿಂಗ್ ಇಸ್ ಡಿಫಿಕಲ್ಟ್. ಸೊ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು 15-20 ಮಿನಿಟ್ಸ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸಿಗೆ ಬರಕ್ಕೂ ಮುಂಚೆ ಹಿಂದಿನ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗಿತ್ತು ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಚೂರು ಗ್ಲಾನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬಂದ್ರೆ it is much easier for us to even continue. Is that clear? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So fine, we'll meet in the next class. See you all. Bye. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.